Okay, so we're gonna get started on our backs. So just find a comfortable position. Probably you'll wanna lay down, bend your knees, feet on the floor, and you can either pick a spot on the ceiling to gaze at or close your eyes. Even if your eyes are closed, try to keep your gaze in one place. Check in with yourself. Check in with the quantity and quality of your thoughts. Notice how you're coming in this evening without judging yourself, just noticing. Check in with your body, starting from the crown of your head, working your way down along your spine and along your limbs. Noting any areas of particular comfort or discomfort. Not stopping when you find them, but just noticing. Check in with your breath. Note the rise and falls of the inhales and exhales. Notice whether your breath is fast or slow, whether it's deep or shallow, what areas of the breath are smooth and which parts are a little bit rough. Without trying to shape or change it yet, just noticing. Noticing any external sounds, smells, sights. Just being aware of them, but maybe trying to put them out of your mind. And we have a lot of distractions right now. So being kind to yourself if they invade your thoughts or your space. Now start to count the lengths of your inhales and your exhales. Notice whether one is longer than the other. And maybe try to even them out. So try for a 4 or 5 second inhale and a 4 or 5 second exhale. Breathing through your nose on both the inhale and the exhale, regulating that breath. Can you extend the inhale and the exhale just a little bit longer, maybe half a second? Keeping the belly relaxed as you inhale, allowing it to fill belly, chest, up to the collarbone, and then going backward as you exhale, collarbone, chest, and then pressing the belly button toward the spine. Full exhale. If you practice Ujjayi breath, you can go ahead and engage that. So that's, you just engage the throat a little bit. So you hear the breath in the throat, but you're still breathing in and out of the nostrils. Sounds a little bit like this. Go ahead and just bring your palms together and your thumbs to your sternum at heart center. Call to mind your sankalpa, which is Sanskrit for intention. Call to mind an intention for class today. It might be I am open, or you might choose something of your own. And let's all just take 2 big, deep inhales and 2 open mouth exhales together. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. One more time, inhale. Exhale. Good. Interlace the hands, press the palms overhead, so your pinkies are touching the mat, and lengthen your spine. Point your toes, get nice and long, give yourself a little morning stretch. Good. Flex your feet, bring your hands to the mat next to your sides. We're just going to take a really gentle opening here. So inhale, point your toes, lift your arms overhead, backs touching the mat. Exhale, flex your feet, hands come down. Do this a few more times. Exaggerating the movement, taking it nice and slow. Next time your palms are next to your hips, raise your hands back over your head and walk them toward the right. I'll mirror you. And walk your feet toward the right as well. So you're in a little arc position, a crescent moon. If you want a little bit more, you can cross your left leg over your right and then hold your left wrist with your right hand. Stretching into that left side. Inhale back to center. And then exhale, the hands to the right and the feet to the hands to the left and the feet to the left. If you took that little extra crossover, go ahead and do that now. Inhale back to center. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Again, squeeze them in, maybe rock from side to side. Massaging out the lower back, really pressing the tailbone toward the mat so that lower back is getting a massage as you're rocking from side to side. Maybe forward and backward a little bit as well. Waking up your spine, just gently, not too aggressively. Good, and then squeeze those knees back in toward the chest. We'll do this as we exhale. As we inhale, we'll press the feet up toward the sky, arms up overhead. Almost like you're in downward facing dog, but upside down. Knees in toward the chest, exhale. Inhale, feet up, arms up. Do this a few more times, moving with your breath. Trying to make the breath last a little bit longer than the movement. As you press those feet up, really flex them as if you're trying to stand on the ceiling. All right, now take the next few breaths to just take any other movements that seem like they'll feel good. So pay attention to your body. Then take your feet wide. So I would say like even wider than the mat, if that's comfortable. Arms can come out to a T, palms face up, or you can bring them to a cactus pose for a little bit of a chest opener. And then allow them to fall to the left. your knees to fall to the left, I should say. If you want a little bit more, now remembering that we've just getting warmed up, but if you want a little bit more, you can place your left ankle over your right knee. It'll give you a little bit more of a stretch in that hip. Maybe take your gaze over your right shoulder. Release that foot if it's on your knee. Inhale to center, and we'll exhale to the other side. Ankle over the knee if you did on the other side. Release the ankle, bring both feet back to the mat. Now we're just going to work with our breath a little bit here. So we're going to do the same thing, inhaling to one side, exhaling to the other. Or I guess inhaling back to center, exhaling to one side. That makes more sense. And then when you've done both sides an equal number of times, bring your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a big hug. Lift your head and shoulders off the mat. Really squeeze everything in. Maybe hunch your shoulders up toward your ears. And then we'll start rocking forwards and backwards along your spine. And take 4 or 5 of these before we meet seated. We're going to be here for a minute or two, so if you want to grab a pillow or a blanket, place it under your hips, you can do that. You can also take a block. If sitting cross-legged isn't comfortable for you, don't feel like you need to sit cross-legged. You can also bend your knees and sit back on your heels, or if this is really the most comfortable, you can also place your feet out. Just make sure your hips are higher than your knees. I'm just gonna take some neck rolls. Exhale your chin toward your chest. Inhale your left ear to your shoulder. Exhale to exhale chin to chest. Inhale to the other side. And exhale chin to chest. I don't seem to know my inhale from my exhale today. Now, if you'd like, you can complete a full circle, but keep the back of the neck nice and long as you look up. And reverse directions. Right, meet back in the center. I'll just go back and forth a couple of times, look right and left a couple of times. So looking left, inhale center, exhaling right, inhale center. And then we'll meet in the middle. Bring your fingertips to your shoulders, and we'll do some backward circles. Now forward. And then go backward again, but this time alternate, like a back stroke. This is Jan, everyone. Okay, release that. We'll take one hand and with the other, draw the muscle around your forearm away from the wrist. So just kind of pull it and then do some circles with that wrist. And go the other way. Switch arms. And go the other direction. And then just move any props out of the way. Point your hands and step back to downward facing dog. Just warning you, I have some pain in my right glute. And I thought it was gone, but as I went to go into downward facing dog, I felt it. So there might be a couple of things that I can't demonstrate. Hopefully not too much. You can feel free to take some free movement in your downward facing dog, maybe pedaling out your feet or stretching out those sides. And then find a place of stillness. Check in with your breath. Inhale, your left foot high, straight leg, even hips. Exhale, bend your knee, open up that hip so your hips are stacked on top of each other. Inhale, that leg straight again, even out the hips. Exhale your knee in towards your chest and plant your foot by your right or by your left thumb. So a fairly wide stance on the mat. Make sure your knee is over your ankle, never in front of your toes. Good. First, keep that back knee off the mat, and we'll just do some circles with the hips. And go the other direction. Just checking in, noticing. Then plant your hands, step your leg back into three-legged dog, and finally downward facing dog. Readjust. Inhale, lift your right leg high, straight leg, even hips. Exhale, bend your knees, stack your hips, stretch. Stay heavy in both of your hands here. Straighten that leg out, even out the hips, and then exhale your knee towards your chest. Plant your foot next to your right thumb. And then readjust, making sure that your knee is over your ankle, that your feet are in 2 lanes of traffic. And then again, keep that back knee up, bring some movement to your hips. Plant your hands, step that foot back to three-legged dog, and then exhale, downward facing dog. You're going to inhale to plank pose. Feel free to take modified plank if that's where you're at today. This is a relaxing class, so feel free to take it. Exhale, lower all the way down to the mat with control. Inhale your arms out in front of you. Allow them to come down to the mat. Full prostration. Fill your torso with breath. Exhale, your hands next to or underneath your shoulders. We'll inhale to a little baby cobra. So squeeze your shoulder blades together and pull your shoulders away from your ears. Exhale, lower your forehead. Let's do 2 more of those. Inhaling up, using those back muscles, not using your hands too much. Exhale, lower. 1 more, inhale up. This time, maybe using your hands a little bit more. Keeping that spine nice and long, tailbone pointing toward the heels. Exhale, lower. Tuck those toes and find your way back to downward facing dog. It might be through a modified plank or through a full plank. Hips up and back. Lift your left leg high, straight leg, even hips. Plant your foot by your thumb. Okay, so watch me for a moment. You can bring that back knee down if you'd like. What we're going to do here is we're going to reach toward the opposite. You're going to lift your left arm. So, wait, is your right or left leg in front? Your left leg is, okay, good. So we're gonna alternate between a twist and a stretch of that side. So as you twist, you're going to twist toward your bent knee. And then as you stretch, you're gonna stretch toward the opposite corner. Right, so you can keep that knee down if you like. You're probably gonna find a better stretch if you bring the knee up, but it's up to you how much work you wanna do today. All right, so it's exhale, twist, really twisting through the upper half of the spine, not the lower half. And then inhale to reach. Exhale, twist. Inhale, reach. Do this a couple more times. That glute is acting up now, so don't watch me. I'll watch you. Really reaching across and forward. Okay. Now plant both your hands and we'll step back to downward facing dog. Stretch. Inhale, lift the other leg high. Exhale, knee toward your chest, plant your foot. And then set up the way you did before. Make sure that knee is over the ankle and twisting as we exhale, reaching as we inhale. Again, working to make that breath a little longer than the movement. Do 1 more here. And then plant your hands and we'll step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, plant your foot next to your right thumb, and then walk it over toward your left thumb. Bring your knee toward your right thumb. We're gonna work on pigeon pose. Walk that back knee back if it goes back anymore. Lengthen your spine, and then walk your hands forward. You can bring forearms to the mat. You can bring forearms to a pillow or blocks if the floor feels far away. You can also extend your hands out. I do recommend having something, your forehead on something, even if it's just stacked fists. And breathe. Okay, now start to walk your hands toward the right. So you'll have a nice side stretch in this pigeon pose. Notice where your breath is moving. Inhale back to center. And then we'll exhale toward the other side. Ooh. Can you release 10%? Inhale back to center, and we'll walk our hands back toward our shin. Lengthen your spine, draw your shoulders away from your ears. Plant your hands and find your way back to downward facing dog. If you'd like to take a vinyasa on the belly on your way there, feel free. Breathe. Inhale, left the right leg high. Exhale, bring that foot toward your right thumb. Walk it over to the left thumb, and then bring your knee to the right thumb. Just a different way of getting into it. I think it brings your knee over toward the side a little bit more. And walk that knee back, set yourself up. Make sure you take a moment to lengthen your spine here before coming down to the mat. And again, finding a place for your forehead. Right, walking your hands over to the left. Okay, walk your hands back to the middle and then exhale to the other side. Inhale back to center, then walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Lengthen your spine, draw your shoulders away from your ears, and then plant your hands and find your way back to downward facing dog. You have a few breaths to do this. Check in with your breath. Check in with your body. Check in with the quantity and quality of your thoughts. And bring your knees to the mat. And actually, you can just either take your knees wide or keep them hip width and sit back into child's pose. And walk your hands back and just sit back on your heels. Let's do a little bit of some shoulder openers. If this bothers your feet at all or your ankles, you can always sit back on a pillow or on a block. Bring your hands out to a T. Left thumb face down. Bring that behind your shoulder. Right thumb face up. Bring that above. If you can't find your fingers, you can always just hold onto your shirt here. Or if you have a blanket handy or a belt, you can just use the blanket. Press your lower rib cage back. Lengthen the back of your neck. Inhale to release, shake it out, and then reverse. Noticing a difference between the sides without judgment. Inhale, release, shake it out. Maybe roll out your neck a little bit. Move that prop out of the way. We're gonna head back to downward facing dog. Lengthen that spine. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale, knee to chest. Plant your foot by your thumb. This time we're going to take our foot wide. So it's going to be toward the edge of the mat. So super wide stance. Maybe even the back foot moves toward the other edge of the mat. Bring the back knee down. And if you can start walking your elbows toward the mat. I have pretty tight hips, so I cannot make it very far. It's okay if you want to bring your front toes out a little bit, maybe 30 degrees or so. This is lizard pose. This is like the one time I'll ever say this. If you'd like to bring your knee wide as you do this, you can. So your weight doesn't have to be fully in that front foot. Then walk your hands back to the mat. Plant that foot. We'll step back to downward facing dog. Again, if you'd like to make your way there with the belly vinyasa, go for it. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, plant your foot wide at the front of the mat. Check your back foot, maybe bring it out a little wider. Plant your back knee. You can untuck those toes or leave them tucked, whatever's more comfortable for you. And then again, we're starting to bring our chest inside that inner thigh, maybe allowing the knee to come out, maybe allowing the forearms to come down. Inhale your hands back underneath your shoulders. Find your way to downward facing dog. All right. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, plant it at the front of the mat. Keep your back knee up, pressing through that back heel. Inhale, shoot, okay, I'm gonna have to demonstrate on the other side because that glute isn't working. So inhale, lift your torso, lengthen your spine, lift your arms overhead. Make sure that front knee is tracking over the ankle. Hold on to your left wrist with your right wrist with your left hand and lean toward the left. So the opposite way that you see me leaning because I can't do it on the other side. Keep those hips heavy. Opening the chest. Inhale, back to center. Interlace your hands behind your hips. I know you're probably getting warmed up here. Open the chest toward the sky. Exhale, bring your chest inside that front knee. This is called humble warrior. Inhale, use your hands to push yourself back up. And then exhale, plant your hands, step back to downward facing dog. Let's do the other side. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, bring your foot to the front of the mat. Again, taking it a little bit wider. And then I'm gonna do the opposite side now so I can at least get the stretch. And then stretching, opening up that hip, and that side. Keeping the chest open toward the sky. And interlacing those hands. Open up the chest. Keep a bend in that front knee. And we're bringing our chest inside that thigh. Inhale, back up. Strong back leg, good. And then point your hands. Find your way to downward facing dog. Stretch. Bring your knees to the mat, and then we'll just swing our legs forward into a seated position. Bring your left knee in toward your chest. Give it a little squeeze first, and then allow it to fall out to the side. The sole of the foot is pressing into the inner thigh of the right leg. Flex the right toes. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Lift your arms overhead. Exhale your chest toward your ankle. And then just let your hands fall wherever they land. Relax your chin toward your chest. Breathe. Inhale up. Open up your chest toward your left side. You might actually even bring your foot away from your inner thigh a little bit. So you're trying to square off toward that side. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, bringing the right hand along the inner edge of that leg. And then you can stay here. This is perfectly fine. Or you can bring the left arm overhead, but try not to crunch. Try to keep that right side nice and long. Opening the chest up toward the sky. Inhale, come on up. Face back toward the center, knee into chest. We'll cross that leg over, twisting to that same left side. Again, bring your arm outside or inside that knee. Inhale back to center. Little canter twist the other way. And then shake that leg out. Bring both legs straight. Then bring the right leg in toward knee in toward the chest. Give it a little squeeze. Cross, no. Open it up. Inhale, lengthen the spine, twisting that chest toward the shin. So it's a tiny bit of a twist here. Then folding forward. Inhale, come on up. Open up to the side. Readjust your seat if you need to. And then we'll bring that arm along the leg as we stay lengthened. And if you did on the other side, bring the arm overhead. Inhale, come on up. Come back to center, squeeze your knee in towards your chest, cross it over, and we'll turn toward the left. Inhale to center, little counter twist. And then we can straighten both of those legs. Final seated pose here. Lengthen the spine, press those sit bones into the mat. Exhale, fold. Bringing that belly button toward your ankles. And then just allowing your hands to fall anywhere they land. Relax the back of your neck. Loosen your jaw. Inhale, come up. And just take a look at me for a second. I'm going to demonstrate our first restorative pose. So we're just going to do a supported child's pose here. So I recommend like multiple blankets and pillows if you have them. We're going to place, make sure there's something to make it angled. So if you have like a blanket underneath it or another pillow or something that under the pillow to make it nice and long, I recommend doing that. If you have blocks, even better. Bring your knees either side of that pillow. They might need to come up pretty far. And then you just rest your chest onto the props. If this is not comfortable, you don't really have enough props, and if you're feeling pinching in your hips, you can also just take Supta Baddha Konasana. Lots of you know that already. It's just laying on your back, feet together, knees wide. It's the same idea, but this is nice and supportive. Your chest down. You can take your head to one side or to the middle, whatever is the most comfortable. If you have your head turning one way, now's a good time to change directions. All right, now start to walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Press yourself off your props. You can leave your props there or move them out of the way. We are going to use them again. And take any movements you need after that. So you might want to open up the hips somehow or other. And then you can just sit back on your heels or take any kind of seat, and I'll show you the next one. So this is one we've done before. We're going to do a chest opener. If you have blocks, those work really well. So you'll take the blocks in a T position. You'll place them where your head and where kind of your chest is, and you'll lay back on those. It might take a little while to readjust them so they're in a place that's comfortable. You can always, if they're hard, you can always place a blanket over them. So that's one way to do it. Another way, if you don't have blocks, which is totally fine, is to take your props that you just used for child's pose and lay on those. Just something that opens your chest up and ideally has a good amount of support for your head as well. Now here, we did just do a lot of hip openers already. So sometimes people like to take Baddha Konasana with this on the legs. Take the legs wide, knees wide, and feet together. If you really want to do this, you can do this, but what I'm going to do and what I recommend doing is just allowing your legs to go out straight. If you have a strap, you can always wrap them around your shins to kind of relax your hips a little bit. And also remembering that we're slowing down now, so you might start getting cooler, so you can always put a blanket over yourself or put a sweater on or whatever you want. Relax your hips, relax your shoulders. Start to slow down your breath. If you feel really comfortable here, you can go ahead and stay here. If you would like to take a more traditional Shavasana for your final resting pose, then move those props out of the way in whatever way is most comfortable and find your way into Shavasana. If you need to take any final movements before you do that, you can feel free, maybe a happy baby or rolling your neck or something. Take your time to get comfortable. Bringing your feet fairly wide on the mat so your hips are relaxed. Bring your hands 6 to 8 inches away from your hips. Lift your head, lengthen your neck, and lower it back down. And just getting any wiggles or movements out of the way so that you can rest in stillness. Close your eyes or find a spot on the ceiling to gaze at. Relax your toes, your feet, your ankles. Relax your shins, your knees. Relax your thighs and your hamstrings. Release any tension or emotion you're holding on to in your hips and in your glutes. Relax your belly and let it rise and fall naturally with the breath. Relax the chest. Release the lower back, middle back, and upper back. Relax the fingers and wrists, the forearms and upper arms. Release any tension in your shoulders and in your neck. Allow your brain to be cradled by your skull and your skull to be cradled by the earth. Relax the forehead. Relax the muscles behind your eyes. Allow your lower jaw to separate from your upper jaw and your tongue to come away from the roof of your mouth. Take these next few minutes to allow body and mind to integrate. If your mind starts to wander, that's okay. Just redirect it back to your breath. It's not about how many times you lose concentration on your breath, but how many times you come back to it. Start to deepen your inhales and lengthen your exhales. Bring some movement into your fingers and toes one at a time. Start to make circles with your wrists and your ankles, waking up the body slowly. Maybe bring the arms overhead, interlace them. Take a nice long stretch. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a hug and roll off to one side, using that bottom arm as a pillow. Take a breath or two here to enjoy the peace you created with your practice. Use that top arm to press yourself up and find a comfortable seat. Maybe sitting on a pillow or two or a block. Ideally, bring your hips higher than your knees. We are going to work on a practice today called Brahmari. This is sometimes hard for me to teach in person because I feel like people get self-conscious, but I'm hoping that because you're at home, that you'll do it. So it's called Brahmari, translates to humming breath, or humming bee breath. And if you're trying not to touch your face, you don't have to do the mudra, but if you're okay with touching your face in your home, you will, and now don't do this until after I demonstrate, otherwise you won't be able to see or hear me, but you'll just lightly cover your eyes with your fingertips. You don't need to press into them. And then you'll close off your ears with your thumbs. If you're wearing AirPods or something, you can take them out, and we're just going to do 7 of them. You're going to count to yourself. So if you want to take them out to close it off, that's okay. I'm actually going to place my AirPods like underneath a pillow so that you can't hear me too loud. Otherwise, that's going to be distracting to you. So after you close all your senses off, then you're going to just as you exhale, you're going to hum. So you'll inhale naturally, and as you exhale, it'll sound like this. So we'll do that 7 times, and then keep your hands covering your eyes and your ears for 7 more breaths, and just sort of witness it. And then after that, we'll check back in with each other. Go ahead and start. Bring your hands to heart center. Bow into yourself and thank yourself for taking the time to be here today. I thank all of you for being here. I appreciate having you join me. I'm going to close off class by chanting the sound of Om one time. Feel free to listen or join along if you'd like. Namaste.